Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. And today I'm super excited to share with you another episode of Foundation First, as it relates to couples touch dancing, where we talk about how you can identify the attributes that will assist you in distinguishing the difference between mediocre ballroom-style dance instruction and extraordinary partnered touch dance instruction. We're talking about being able to more easily identify responsible and ethical dance instruction, as opposed to the self-serving efforts of wannabe and unqualified dance instructors who are looking for a stage or platform to promote their legitimacy at the expense of their students. Utilizing the very best practices in whatever profession you are in is always value added for your customers. And today, we're talking about something that all dance instructors need to professionally stake their reputation to, as a matter of principle. This must quite simply be our charter and chant. Our most single purpose is to teach the dancer, not the dance. And I'm hoping that every legitimate instructor out there will, after I explain, understand exactly where I am going with this tact. Today we're talking about the idea that nobody, and I mean nobody, in the dance instructional business should attempt to teach, for example, the nightclub two-step, waltz, or cha-cha until they are absolutely positive that their students have both mastered and can demonstrate they absolutely own the one-step, two-step, and rock step. Also, that those students are perfectly adept in first, dance floor etiquette and floor craft. Secondly, that they understand proper dance frame and body mechanics. And finally, that they are able to dance comfortably and in sync to all the tempos of music played in the 4/4 signature, which composes the majority of all dance music. And I know this might be a controversial concept for some studios and their instructors, but let me explain why I believe so passionately that having all of the foundational skills necessary as a partnered touch dancer is critical, prior to attempting to learn the more advanced and complex patterns associated with all the other ballroom-style dances. And yes, even though my livelihood depends on my promoting and having classes for all of those dances, I continue to stand by the foundation first concept, 100%. So let's talk about why. Quite simply, the basic one-step and two-step sequences are the very fundamental cornerstones of all partnered touch dancing, whether we're talking about American style or international styles. It's very important that we understand that no matter what form or style of partner dancing that we are teaching, pushing specific dance genres without establishing proper foundational fundamentals creates dancers who are, as the saying goes, a jack of all dances and master of none. This is particularly problematic for male leads, who bear the responsibility of navigation of the partnership in social dancing environments. And if we try to teach the fancy stuff before our students have a solid foundation to build upon, then all of the things that we're trying to accomplish are going to fall apart when the student ventures out of our studio dance class and ends up on a real social dance club floor, where there are a myriad of dances all being done at the very same time. Here's my 3 non-negotiable fundamentals. Before I will teach any specific and advanced dance genre to any student, they must demonstrate absolute proficiency in 3 critical areas. These aren't suggestions, they're requirements that I strongly feel actually separate professional instruction from amateur teaching. I said it before and I'll say it again. The very first fundamental is, quite simply, dance floor etiquette and floor craft. The most telling sign of an inexperienced dancer isn't their footwork, it's their complete ignorance of dance floor etiquette and floor craft. This internationally recognized system allows multiple dance styles to coexist safely on the same floor simultaneously. And it is employed internationally, so that each and every dancer can enjoy the dance floor at the very same time and spontaneously perform whatever dance routine they desire. Students must understand that there are only 2 categories of partnered dancing being done on any social club dance floor, anywhere in the world. That's correct. You heard me right. There's only 2 types of dances that are ever being performed on any social dance floor. Those 2 being spot or rhythm dances that remain in a basically stationary footprint, like freestyle, rumba, cha-cha, East and West Coast swing, and nightclub two-step. The second category is smooth or traveling dances that move counterclockwise around the 2 outside lanes at the floor's perimeter, never ever stopping in the corners. Some of those being the waltz, foxtrot, two-step, and polka. The outer edge of any dance floor is for traveling dances, while the lane just inside that accommodates slower progressive or smooth dancers doing the shuffle, shottisha, cowboy cha-cha that occasionally back up in the line of dance. The middle of the dance floor is owned by the spot dancers. They will be doing dances like freestyle, rumba, cha-cha, East and West Coast swing, and nightclub two-step. With all this going on, students must totally understand and demonstrate the rules of the road concept before they're truly qualified to participate in social club-partnered touch dancing. Without this knowledge, they become the careless drivers who don't understand the intended dance traffic patterns, backing up or stopping in the fast lane, interfering with other couples, and creating a rash of uncomfortable situations. The second fundamental is knowledge of the proper dance frame and body mechanics. Partnered touch dancing requires specific physical principles that cannot be improvised or approximated. Students must be able to demonstrate proper frame and understand the structured connection between partners that allows for clear communication for ease of navigation. This includes understanding weight distribution, maintaining an appropriate and balanced frame without being too tense, creating stable and uniform connection points, and developing the spatial awareness necessary for leading and following. These mechanics form the foundation upon which all partnered touch dancing is built. A student attempting to learn a waltz, cha-cha, or nightclub two-step without having a proper frame is like someone trying to drive a car with a pool noodle for a steering wheel. They might move about the dance floor, but they have no real control over where they're going or how they'll get there together. Remember, the visual a couple wants to portray when dancing together is to appear that they are moving together smoothly, as one entity. And the third fundamental of partnered touch dancing is musical understanding, or what they call musicality, which means being able to step in exact time with the music being played. Here's where we separate those who truly appear to be experienced dancers from people who simply move spontaneously to music. Students must fully grasp and be able to demonstrate that they understand the 4/4 signature that governs the majority of dance music, and they must be able to maintain perfect timing to both slow and fast tempo songs. This means learning and owning, first and foremost, one-step basics, also the two-step basics, including a simple rock step. These aren't preliminary exercises, they're the foundational building blocks of all partnered touch dancing. If a student cannot confidently execute a one-step and two-step while maintaining proper timing and frame, they have no business being pushed into taking classes involving more complex patterns. You may have heard of the castle walk, which launched the dance craze of the early 1900s precisely because it was simple, accessible for making beginners quickly proficient, and built on one-step fundamental principles. Using this dance as a standard for beginners allows we dance instructors not to reinvent the wheel. It applies time-tested and proven educational principles. Now let's talk about the professional standard. Those of us who are truly accredited dance professionals have a responsibility that extends beyond simply delivering what students think they want. If someone comes to me requesting I teach them, say, some cha-cha patterns, and they cannot demonstrate for me knowledge of any of the aforementioned foundational skills, that's exactly where my job is, to stop and educate them about the proper learning progression. Not to take their money and teach them a bunch of patterns they will end up fumbling with, and make me look like a buffoon and an unqualified instructor. This isn't about being difficult or extending the learning process unnecessarily. This is about creating competent, confident dancers who can adapt to any social dancing environment they encounter. The student who masters these fundamentals first will ultimately learn specific genres and patterns faster, retain them better, and be able to adapt them to real-world dancing situations when everyone is dancing differently to the very same song. Here's the real-world test, folks. Let me paint you a picture. Your student has learned a bunch of neat cha-cha patterns in the confines of your studio. Now they're at a wedding reception, where the floor is crowded with couples dancing everything from country two-step to freestyle jazzercise, all at the very same time, to the very same song. Trust me, there is not going to be any attention to floor craft or dance floor etiquette anywhere on the premises. If your students think they can execute anything they've learned in your pristine studio, where everyone dances exactly the same way, to the music being played, they are in for a rude awakening. If they can't fall back upon and execute simple one-step and two-step basics with confidence, they'll be completely lost when the music doesn't match the patterned and memorized routine you've taught them. There just will not be any room to do a patterned dance. They will most probably find themselves sitting out most of the songs while they await the one song that has that cha-cha rhythm they are familiar with. Then, once on the dance floor, finding room to do their dance patterns is going to be challenging. This screams, Your instructor has taught a dance and not trained a dancer. Ouch! This is the real-world test that reveals whether we've created dancers or pattern memorizers. Are they jacks of many dances and masters of none? Again, we must ever strive to teach the dancer, not the dance. So this is quite simply my professional commitment, and I challenge every accredited instructor listening to make the same pledge. I will not teach specific dance genres and advanced lessons until my students demonstrate mastery of the core foundational fundamentals. Folks, it isn't about making money through extended lessons. It's about maintaining professional standards based on best practices and creating genuinely competent dancers. Students may initially resist this approach. Yes, they want to learn the flashy stuff immediately to impress their friends, with but a couple of simple patterns, and they will gladly pay handsomely to do just that. But our job is to provide them with education that serves their long-term dancing success, not just their immediate gratification. When we shortcut those foundational fundamentals, we create dancers who look lost. You've seen them. They have that perplexed, deer-in-the-headlights look when away from dance studio and on an actual social club dance floor. These folks, I guarantee you, will eventually tend to avoid social dancing because they look, feel, and are actually unprepared. Then, they will tend to ultimately abandon dancing altogether because they never developed the confidence or received any accolades from their peers that boosted their confidence, which comes from demonstrating solid foundational skills, and thus, they ever appeared to be no more than novices. The choice is clear. We can either be instructors who give students what they think they want in the moment, or we can be professionals who give them what they actually need for lifelong dancing success. My Foundation First concept isn't just a teaching philosophy. It's a professional standard that separates responsible instruction from a world of folks who want to self-promote themselves as supposed dance instructors. This, without any actual cred behind their ruse. When we insist on proper fundamentals, we create dancers who are prepared for any floor, any music, and any social dancing situation they encounter. Again, we must ever strive to teach the dancer, not the dance. The student who masters floor craft, frame, and basic timing will ultimately become the dancer who is noticed and appears experienced on any floor. They will, most assuredly, garner a multitude of accolades from their peers that will profoundly encourage them to get out there on the hardwoods and become even more proficient. On the other hand, those impatient students who jump to trying to learn patterns without grounding in the fundamentals will remain forever the standout and obvious novice beginner. No matter how many choreographed routines they memorize, they'll forever be just jacks of all dances and masters of none. As professionals, we have the knowledge and responsibility to make this distinction clear. Our students' long-term success depends on our commitment to proper educational progression. Our studio has made a quarterly commitment to offering workshops on Back to Basics, the fundamentals of partnered touch dancing classes. We are doing this on a quarterly basis. Even our most experienced dancers are singing the praises of being able to revisit their foundational skills and retune. And, needless to say, those folks new to touch dancing are really reaping some industrial strength benefits, and it shows almost immediately in their dancing acumen when they are out and about. That's it, folks. Thanks for listening, and remember, never ever miss the chance to dance, because life is always better when you dance. Hope to see you out dancing sometime soon. Thank you, folks, for watching.